during the exile, there were tzaddikim. Amram was a tzaddik, he was the leader of generation. There were many other tzaddikim in Mitzrayim. But who knows who these tzaddikim were? We know there was Amram, we can imagine there were other heads of the tribes in different shvatim. And then suddenly there's Moshe Rabbeinu. Like Moshe Rabbeinu was like, whoa, way. We're talking about light years and light years and light years above, way above everyone else. There's no comparison. There's a whole different reality. The Eibishter fully manifests and reveals himself through Moshe Rabbeinu, speaks to him and all that. And another example. In Mitzrayim, there were a whole bunch of shuls. Yidden would gather. Actually, Moshe Rabbeinu asked Paro that he should allow the Jewish people to have one day of the week, Shabbos, that they should gather together. It says they gathered together, they studied Torah, they did what they did. But after the Geula, we have a Mishkan. Can you compare shuls to a Mishkan? And we have with a Beis HaMikdash. This is extreme. So when you see the Rebbe talking certain things about, when he talks about the Friediger Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, or he talks about, so we're going to see in this talk, the Rebbe talks about 770, and he makes such incredible, what would seem like extreme statements. Yeah, because in these talks, in the years from after the famous Chav Ches Nisan Sicha, Chav Zayin, what was it? Chav Ches Nisan, where the Rebbe spoke so much about then why Mashiach isn't here yet, and we haven't completed the job. From after that to the end, it's like everything changed. And the sichas that we've had from then till Chav Zayin Adar, in these sichas, these are the talks that are meant to transition us from exile to redemption, from Galus to Geula. And that's why people are so scared to learn them. People are simply scared to learn them. There's nothing to be scared of. The Yetzer Hara doesn't allow us to learn them. But when we learn them, it's like, whoa, it's crazy. It opens up, it blasts the Galus away, and it puts you face to face with the redemption. It says incredible things. I mean, this sikh is enough to literally make you crazy, to run on the streets and scream, Gewalt, Yidden, wake up. See what has been said. So let's learn. I'm just learning what it says. So let's learn together. It's definitely, I've learned it 2 or 3 times. Every time I learn it, it just blows my mind. Okay, so let's go. Ala pasuk on the pasuk ve'eyo lahem lamigdosh ma'at. But the beautiful thing is that these things are not, these sichos are not just made to take cut and paste, take little phrases and quote them, and then the problem when you do that is you turn people off. But if you don't do that, I mean, the Rebbe said that the whole inyan of Mashiach is oireis to tell you. It's very intense lights, but it has to be b'kelim the tikkun. One thing is for sure, when the Rebbe gave it to us, the Rebbe, if you expected us to give kelim the tikkun, he definitely himself did kelim the tikkun. So if you're doing cut and paste and you only take slogans, then you have a problem. But if you actually learn the whole sikha, and you see the brilliance, and you see the go'iness, and you see that everything really that the Rebbe is saying is no big chiddush, it's everything already there in Chazal. It's just that the way it's all coming together in such an unbelievable way, that's when you see the Chiddush. The important thing is, I believe very strongly, that if we ever want Mashiach revealed in the world, we have to stop being such cowards and such chickens, and we have to start talking. Just like Jewish people have to stop being cowards and start talking to the world, about Bereshis bara Elokim es hashamayim v'za'aretz, that in the beginning God created heaven and earth. We shouldn't be ashamed to tell the world what our Torah tells us. Lubavitcher Chassidim shouldn't be ashamed to tell the world what the Rebbe told us in these years. But you can't feel confident and strong unless you're fluent and you know it. That's why let's learn together. Everybody that listens to this shir has a challenge to pass it on. Pass it on, share it with others, let others see what has been said, what has been told to us. Let's read. There's a pasuk in Yecheskel where it says, I will be to them lamigdosh ma'at, for a small sanctuary, in the lands where they have come there. Pasuk in Yecheskel, Perek Yud Aleph, Pasuk Tezayin. Shegam b'chutz la'aretz, which as the Mefarshim explain mean, that even in Chutz Li'aretz, even outside of the land of Israel, in the diaspora, in the lands where the Jewish people have come, in the places and in the time of exile, Yashnoi, because there's two things. There's the place of exile, which means we're outside of the land of Israel, and the time of exile, which is the period of exile. Yashnoi Migdash Ma'at. There is a small sanctuary. We don't have the big sanctuary. We don't have the temple. We don't have the Beis HaMikdash, but we have a small sanctuary. However, we need to understand that it's not. It's a continuation, and it resembles the big Beis HaMikdash. Me'ein v'dugmas. It is me'ein. It is something and similar. HaMikdash HaGadol B'Yerushalayim, the big sanctuary, which is when the Yidden are in, which was in Yerushalayim. Tinyon Sheni LeBeis HaMikdash. It's a secondary kind of. It's second to the Beis HaMikdash. That's what the Targum Yonason says. On Mikdash Ma'at, it's secondary. The Mikdash is the first holy sanctuary, holy place. And this is a secondary holy place. So that's what the pasuk says, and this is what the Mefarshim say. The Eilam HaMikdash Ma'at is Hashem says, I will provide a small sanctuary for them during the time of Golus. We're going to see soon that when Yidden go to Golus, it's not chas v'shalom that God has forsaken us completely. He comes along with us. And when he comes along with us, he needs a place, he needs a nest. Just like when we're home, Hashem needs a big nest. And when we're traveling, in Golus we're traveling, the Eibishter needs a small sanctuary. And what's a small sanctuary? That's the small Beis HaMikdash, which is what? So what's that small Beis HaMikdash? Isa b'Gemara. So the Gemara says, Omer Rabbi Yitzchak. So Rabbi Yitzchak says, what's that small sanctuary? Those are all the Bate Knesiyos. But Beis HaKnesses means a place where people gather to daven. But the Midrasha is a study hall where people gather to learn. Today's days, many of them are, kind of together, but we can maybe see like a shul and a yeshiva. A yeshiva is a study hall, and a shul is a place for prayer. So both these places, a study hall and a prayer and a shul where people daven, both these places, they function as a Migdash Ma'at. Even though they're in Bavel. They're not in Eretz Yisrael. They're in Bavel, which is the place where the Golus is. Now, obviously, we understand that Bavel doesn't mean only Bavel. It means later everywhere where the Jewish people are. When Jews are in, like we learned last week, in France, so the Batei Mikdash, the shuls in France, stand that when Jews were in Poland, then it's the Batei Mikdash is in Poland, the Batei Midrashim in Poland. That's the first opinion. That's Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Lazar Amar, Rabbi Lazar says, is a Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel. That it's particularly referring to the house of our master, of our teacher in Bavel. Who is that? We'll see soon. That's Rav. They were students of Rav. Rav was their Rebbe. Rav was one of the great sages of the Talmud. He was actually a student of Rebbe, the author of the Mishnah. Rav is already the next generation. He's already from the first generations of Amoraim, which means sages of the Gemara. He's also considered partially a Tana, and his shul, that's the Migdash Ma'at. Yes, so we have two opinions. Either it's every shul, or it's one shul. Yesh Loimar. So now the Rebbe comes and the Rebbe says, that they're not really arguing whether it's the Shechina is in every shul or the Shechina is only in one shul. They're not arguing. Rabbi Lazar will agree. Rabbi Lazar who says it's Beis Rabbeinu, he also agrees that every shul in Bavel, in the exile, in the diaspora, is a place. It's called a small sanctuary. It's a little Beis HaMikdash. V'gam ladas, to some degree. V'gam ladas Rabbi Yitzchak, but also Rabbi Yitzchak will agree that Iker v'shleimus inyan the Migdash Ma'at, that the primary Migdash Ma'at and the most perfect, if you can say perfect, in a Migdash Ma'at, in a small Beis HaMikdash, who Beis Rabbeinu is Beis Rabbeinu. In other words, they both acknowledge each other. Rabbi Lazar would agree to Rabbi Yitzchak that every shul has some degree of sanctity and therefore considered like a little Beis HaMikdash. But also Rabbi Yitzchak agrees that there is one major sanctuary that stands in the place of the Beis HaMikdash, Mamish. Okay, now Hatoya Rabbeinu. Now the Rebbe first explain, what does it mean Beis Rabbeinu? So in order to understand what's the Chiddush of Beis Rabbeinu, so we have to realize, what does the word Rabbeinu mean? Rabbeinu means our teacher. Why is someone called a teacher? If they teach. They don't teach, they're not a teacher. A teacher is someone who teaches. So Rabbeinu is someone who teaches. And who does he teach? He teaches all the Jewish people. Hatoya Rabbeinu. The title Rabbeinu al Shem Shemalamet Torah Talmidim. Someone who teaches Torah to Talmidim. Ubeis Rabbeinu. And what does it mean, the house of Rabbeinu? Habaya Shaboy Malamed Rabbeinu Torah Talmidim. That's the house which is designated. In other words, there's many shuls and many yeshivas, but there's one shul where Rabbeinu teaches Torah. So who Beis Medrash? That's a Beis Medrash. That's a Beis Medrash. Ubemela reyugam Beis HaKnesses. Once it's a Beis Medrash, a place to teach Torah, it's also a Beis HaKnesses, a place of davening. Habaya shaboy miskansin rav al tamidim l'tefila, because the teacher and the students gather for davening. Who says that there is one place, or that a place that's a place of study, it's a Beis Medrash, because it's Rabbeinu, Beis Rabbeinu, so it's a place for teaching Torah. Who says it's also a bias of tefillah? And the answer is, because as he brings now, the Gemara says that it is a far more preferable for people to daven in the place that they study. Kivan shahalimud va'atfila tzricham li is bebayas echad. That even because learning and davening should be in one place. Like actually in this passage of the Talmud, in this passage of Masechtas Megillah, this statement that the Gemara says, that we're just quoting, the argument between Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Lazar, what is this Migdash Ma'at? It's a Gemara in Masechtas Megillah and Daf Chav Tez. So the Gemara over there continues, have a gerisna bebei knishna. We would always learn in the shul. Or you see, loy mid bebeis haknesses. We'd go learn at the Beis HaKnesses because the two of them should be together. Now, which means, even though it's technically possible to have designated places, a place where you just have a place for a minyan, and then there's another place for learning, but it's better to have them together. So in Beis Rabbeinu, which is the major place of the greatest teacher of the Jewish people teaching Torah, so that place is also a Beis Tefillah, where he and his students come to daven. So what's the Maila Yasera? What is this extra quality to the Beis HaKnesses and the Beis HaMedrash of Beis Rabbeinu? Which stands out, and it is greater than all the other shuls and all the other yeshivas across the entire world. What is the specialty? Why is this so much greater? We said earlier that everybody agrees. Even Rabbi Yitzchak, who says it refers to every shul, agrees that there's something special about the one shul, the Iker shul, the Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel. It's like the Chachamim say. So somewhere else, this is till now we were quoting from the Gemara Masechtas Megillah, and now the Rebbe is quoting from the Gemara Masechtas Brachos. The Gemara says, what does it say in the pasuk? Oyev Hashem Shari Tzion. It's a pasuk in Tehillim. Hashem loves the gates of Zion, the gates of Tzion. Mikol Mishkenois Yaakov, from all the dwellings of Yaakov. So what does this pasuk mean? The Gemara says. That means there's two things. There is Shari Tzion, there is the gates of Tzion, and then there is Mishkenois Yaakov. There's the dwellings of Yaakov. And Hashem loves all of them. But the Shari Tzion he loves particularly. So the Gemara learns that an interesting thing. Oyev Hashem Shiarim, that Hashem loves the gates, HaMetziyanim B'halacha. Those gates where they don't just study Torah, but they study Torah and their focus is on getting down to the halacha. Because a lot of places you learn yeshiva and people are not learning, they're learning to be lamdanim, which means they're learning to know Torah. Not necessarily, I don't mean in a bad way, negative way. Learning Torah to learn Torah. It's not halacha based. To learning shiarim amtzunim b'halacha means a special yeshiva where they're like, for example, when you learn smicha, then you're learning to know halacha. Okay? So these shiarim amtzunim b'halacha, and where people sit and learn, and they're here to come down to the halacha. The Eibishter loves that place more than all the bate knesiyos and all the shuls and all the yeshivas. And the Gemara continues. Why is that? So the Gemara says, because and the Gemara says this is Maayon shachara Beis Hamikdash. The Gemara says this comes out, this passage, this pirush that we just said in this pasuk, is consistent with another maimer of Chazal. And what does it say? It says that Maayon shachara Beis Hamikdash ein lo lakadosh baruch hu ba'olamai. From the day that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, the Eibishter doesn't have in his world el arba amashal halacha. The place God doesn't have, Hashem doesn't have anywhere else that He can consider His place, because He doesn't have a Beis Hamikdash. So He doesn't have His nest anymore in Yerushalayim. So what's God's resting place? Dalet amashal halacha, the 4 cubits where halacha is studied. It doesn't just say that you learn Torah, you study halacha. So halacha is very precious to Hashem, and that's where God dwells. And that's why, that's the meaning also, that the Eibishter loves Oyev Hashem Sha'arei Tziyah. So the Rebbe say, so you see from here, that amongst Bate Knesiyos and Bate Midrashos, there is a very special attention given, there's a higher quality shul, a place where they study halacha. And that's the significance of Beis Rabbeinu. Rabbeinu is the one who's teaching the Jewish people. And the Rebbe's connect. The Rebbe brings the Marsha. What does the Marsha say? The Marsha is connecting the fact that the relationship of Dalet Amashal Halacha, the 4 cubits of Halacha, to the Beis Hamikdash. What does it do with the Beis Hamikdash? Is a place where you offer karbanos, where Kahanim bench the Jewish people, where you have the Leviim have an amazing symphony. I mean, what's the connection of Beis? So the Marsha with halacha. So one of the prominent things of the Beis Hamikdash, in addition to the service of karbanos, of sacrifices, one of the prominent elements of the Beis Hamikdash was that the Sanhedrin sat in the Beis Hamikdash, and they were the highest dictators of halacha. They're the ones who gave out hayra, direction, in halacha to the Jewish people. And for that reason, the Eibishter dwells there, because the Eibishter dwells in the Torah. Since the Lishkas, the Sanhedrin, those who give out halacha, we think that the Eibishter dwells in the Beis Hamikdash because of karbanos. Yes, to a certain degree, yeah. But in addition, like we're going to learn in the Mamarim Abasi Lagani, but in addition to that, the Eibishter is one with his Torah, and the Eibishter dwells where his Torah is, and amongst that, those who teach the Torah, the highest court. And therefore, when you don't have any more a Sanhedrin, you don't have a Lishkas Hagazes, which was a room in the Beis Hamikdash where you had the Sanhedrin sitting. And what do you have instead? You have places throughout the exile where people study halacha. So that's what the Eibishter will be. And then you have one major center where halacha comes out, where hayra and teaching comes out for all the Jewish people. That's Beis Rabbeinu. Yeah. So there you see that there is a difference in shuls itself. So let's read the Marsha. Because in the time when the Beis Hamikdash was standing, there was the Lishkas Hagazes. Shemesham Yotzes Halacha Psuka. That's where a final verdict comes out. Al Pi Sanhedrin, based on the Sanhedrin. V'imaim Vadai Hashchina Shruya. And with them, with the Sanhedrin, the Shechina dwells definitely. V'achsha Shachara Beis Hamikdash. And now that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, this is the Marsha saying this. Oisen Dalet Amashal Halacha. So that's the Dalet Amashal Halacha. Mokim Kavua. That's a set place. Shememenu Yotzes Hayra La'anshei Ha'ir. From where they teach halacha to the people of the city. Because they're now no more teaching all the Jewish people. They're teaching only the people in the city. Because every place has its own Dalet Amashal Halacha. Shezeh Inyan Shel Beis Rabbeinu, which is the Inyan of Beis Rabbeinu on a larger scale. Because Rabbeinu is the one who's teaching halacha, who's teaching guidance for all the Jewish people. Al derech, he says in the Orah 12, Al derech bedugmas haSanhedrin, similar to the Sanhedrin, hashoifet hashayir bayamim ahim, the judge who will be in that time, Beis din shebedorcha, the Beis din of your generation. If you're going back to what we learned to Shoiftim Sicha, where the Rebbe says that shoftim, that in every generation there's supposed to be shoftim, especially before Mashiach comes. The shoftim will come back, but instead of the shotrim, we're going to have yoyatzim. You remember that? Okay. So what do we see from here so far? That there was a Beis Hamikdash, and then there was a Beis Hamikdash Ma'at, and we see that there's different levels in that Beis Hamikdash Ma'at. There is all shuls and yeshivas. There's a particular migdash, an extra dwelling of Shechina, Dalet Amash Alacha, so that means that place is holier. There is a more of a migdash in that place, in where Oyav Hashem Shari Tzion, the Shari Tzion is where they teach halacha. And the Iker Inyan of that all is Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel. We turn over the page 198. And because of the unique advantage of the Beis HaKnesses and the Beis HaMedrash of Beis Rabbeinu, Legabe Shar Bate Knesiyas Bate Midrash Shebebavel, in comparison to all the other Bate Knesiyos and all the Bate Midrashos, Harehu Migdash Ma'at HaIkri. This becomes the main Migdash. Shenoisen HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisroel, the Eibishter gives that place as the main Beis HaMikdash, Bizman HaGolus, in the time of exile, Tumuras HaMikdash HaGadol Shebirushalayim, which substitutes the base, the Beis HaMikdash as a gift. Hashem gives us a gift where He dwells in Golus, the Eibishter gives it to us on a smaller scale. But He gives it to us amongst all the shuls, one Ikri, one main one. And that's the one that substitutes or stands at least until we get the bigger Beis HaMikdash. Now the Rebbe says we can bring a proof. In order to further proof that there's various different gradations and levels in this sanctuary, in where we say that this is sanctuary, which is like a little bit like a Beis HaMikdash, but there's various levels in it. If you go back a few lines in that very same Gemara, Masechtas Megillah, which speaks about, as we said earlier, that that all shuls are a Migdash Ma'at. Al Dvar, so earlier, before that, it talks about something else. It talks about the Shechina dwelling together with the Jewish people in exile. And I want to clarify something so you shouldn't get confused. There's two sugyas, two discussions, two topics, let's say, that are overlapping over here. And when you learn, sometimes you don't realize that the Rebbe is overlapping two different things. Now the two are very related, and that's why they become entangled. So we have to realize that there's two things. Number one is talking about Hashras HaShechina, that the Shechina dwells with the Jewish people. And there's going to be a whole discussion, where does the Shechina dwell? Then there's something else. There is a Beis HaMikdash. There is a Migdash Mat, a sanctuary. That's the second topic. Till now we addressed the topic of sanctuary. And we said there is a big sanctuary, Yerushalayim, small sanctuaries, and amongst the small ones there's a larger one. Okay? Now we're going to talk about Hashras HaShechina, where the Shechina dwells. Now obviously the two are connected, because the Shechina likes to dwell in a sanctuary. But we have to realize there's a difference. Shechina is Hashras HaShechina, from above, Mamayla Lamata, from above, where the Shechina dwells. Migdash means a place, a part of the world that has become sanctified, to become, obviously, the space for where the Shechina will dwell. Okay, so earlier in the Gemara talks about that the Shechina never leaves the Jewish people. It begins with a mimer of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, fitting for Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who says, Kamo Chavivin, the Jewish people are so chaviv, are so precious in the Eibishter's eyes, that he always goes along with them. Even when he goes to exile, he can't be without them. Dvar Hashras HaShechina b'Yisrael b'zman HaGolus, so Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, B'chol makom shegalu Shechina imon. Wherever the Jewish people are, the Shechina goes along with them. Galu l'Mitzrayim, they went to Mitzrayim, Shechina imon, the Shechina is with them. Galu l'Bavel, Shechina imon, Shechina is with them. In each place it brings psukim. Then the Gemara asks a question. Bebavel heichen, where is the Shechina in Bavel? Shechina is in Bavel, where is he? Amar Abaya. So Abaya says, Bebei Knishta de Hutzel. There is a shul in the city of Hutzel, which is in the vicinity of Nahar Da, in Bavel. And he brings over here in Ara 13, B'kenishta de Hutzel kroiva lebeis hamedrash shel Ezra HaSofer. It was a shul that was very close to the shul of Ezra HaSofer, who was the leader of the Jewish people during the time of the Galus Bavel. Primarily in the end of Galus Bavel, he's the one who led the Jewish people up and built the second Beis Hamikdash. But he was first in Bavel, and he had a shul there. So right next to his shul, there's another shul. Now, what happened with Ezra HaSofer's shul, I'm not sure. Maybe it was destroyed. But there was a shul next to his shul, and that's the Beis HaKnesses of Hutzel. Lamata min Harda. That's what it says in Aruch. Okay. That's one place where the Shekhinah dwells. And what's the second place? Ubekenishta de Shaf v'Yosef. There's another Beis HaKnesses. It's called Shaf and Yosef. Yosef. B'Naharda, in the city of Naharda. These two shuls is where the Shekhinah is. Okay. Why is it called Shaf and Yosef? It's a strange name, Shaf and Yosef. What does it mean? So let's learn Ara 14 together. Shem Makim, it's the name of a place. So it's like you would say in the Pico area, or you'd say in the La Brea area. So you say in the Shaf Yosef area. What's so special about that shul? Ubana Yechanya. Yechanya, if you remember, is the king who was exiled in the end of the first Beis Hamikdash, and he was taken into captivity. We say it in Megillah, Im Yechanya Melech. Right? The Yechanya was taken. Mordechai came down together with the Jews that were exiled from Yerushalayim at the end of the first Beis Hamikdash with Yechanya. So Yechanya, when he came from Yerushalayim and he was exiled by Nebuchadnezzar, he built the Beis Hamikdash. But the Siyasai and his helpers, his people who came along with him. And how did he build it? What was so special about that shul? They used Jerusalem stone. Me'avanim va'afar. They brought stones and sand. She'eviyam imam begalusan. They brought it with them in Galus. Lekaya mashanemar, in order to fulfill what it says in the pasuk. Kiratsu avodecha es aveineha. Your servants are desiring. They have a favor. They favor the stones. Ves afara, and her earth, Yechainenu, finds chen by them, is special by them. So Rashi says that's the special. So they used stones and earth from Yerushalayim. That's what it says in Rashi in Masechtas Megillah. Then the Rebbe brings him another Rashi in Masechtas Rosh Hashanah. Rashi says, "Makaimu," it's a place. What's the meaning of Shaf v'Yosef? V'yesh Paisrin, Rashi says, Shechara v'chaza v'nivna. It was destroyed and was rebuilt. That's why it's called Shaf, means destroyed, and Yosef means it was rebuilt. V'tamid ois shechina mitzuyasha. The Shekhinah is always there in that shul. And then Rashi continues, the Yechanya v'galusai banu'u, and Yechanya and his exiled Jews built it. Shenasu imam ma'avne Yerushalayim. They carried it with them from the stones of Jerusalem, from Yerushalayim. Okay, that's Rashi. Now take it a step further. Uba Aruch Sham. Aruch is one of the Rishonim. Okay, so what does he say? A little different than Rashi. Yesaduhu ma'avanim va'afar da'aisiyu ba'hadayu mi Beis HaMikdash. It's not stam stones and earth from Yerushalayim. It's actually stones and earth from the Beis HaMikdash itself. V'karuhu Shaf Yosef. Why is it called Shaf and Yosef? This is important. Shaf and Yosef, according to the Aruch, is not that it was destroyed and rebuilt. Shaf means it flew. Yosef, and it was relocated. Koloimar Shenasa Migdash. Shaf means it traveled. Shaf means it traveled. V'Yosef, and it resettled. What does that mean, really? It means the stones of the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim were imported, or rather exported out from Yerushalayim to Bavel, and they built this special shul, and therefore it's called Shaf v'Yosef, and it's these two shuls, Hutzal, the shul in Hutzal, and the shul in Naharda. It's these two shuls that the Shekhinah dwells. Now we go back inside. The loy tema, Abaya says here, this is amazing. The loy tema hacha v'hacha. You shouldn't say here and there, that the Shekhinah can be in two places. Elo zimnin hacha v'zimnin hacha. The Shekhinah could be in more than one place. But yet, the Shekhinah its main manifestation is only in one place. So at times it was in the shul in Hutzal, and at times it was at the shul in the other shul, Shafi Yosef shul. Like he brings over here. Don't say it was about al toimer kan v'kan, el l'pa'amim kan, el l'pa'amim kan. We're going to see it's very, very important. Because the Rebbe is going to prove from here that the Shekhinah dwells in one place. There is ha'ara, there's rays of the Shekhinah, sparks of the Shekhinah is everywhere, especially in different shuls. But the main dwelling of the Shekhinah is in one place. What's that place? So, in the Gemara says either two, one of these two places. Okay, so now let's see. Now, what does it mean Shekhinah is somewhere? What does it say? The Shekhinah is there. Don't we know Maloi Kala Aretz Kavodo, that the Eibishter's glory is everywhere? The Shekhinah is everywhere. What's Shekhinah? Shekhinah is the words of the Eibishter that create the creation. So there's a little bit of Shekhinah over here in every block. On Poinsettia Street, there's a little bit of Shekhinah. A little bit on Beverly Boulevard. Everywhere there's Shekhinah. So what does this mean? Oh, the Chiddush of Shekhinah Imam means Gilui Shekhinah. That the Shekhinah is Bihizgalus. That the Eibishter is Bihizgalus in that place. He Gilui Shekhinah. And the Rebbe brings this is not the Rebbe's own interpretation. He's bringing it from the Marsha. Gilui Shekhinah b'makoymos meyuchados k'moi b'mishkan u'b'migdash. Special places where there is Gilui Shekhinah in the same way like in the Mishkan and the Migdash. That means you go there, you can feel Eibush there. You can feel God. There is a Gilui of the Eibush there. And this place is Bate Knesiyos and Bate Medrashis. Shenekra Migdash Ma'at. They're called the Migdash Ma'at. Like that. In other words, the Shekhinah therefore needs a place. If it's Gilui Shekhinah, it needs a place. What's the place? That's the bait. We said earlier, there's a Migdash Ma'at, there's small nests, small sanctuaries. So based on this we can say, when the Gemara says, Bebavel Heicha, when the Gemara says, in Bavel, where is he? It's either one of these two Bate Knesiyos, these two special shuls. Bate Knesiyos miyuchadim beBavel, designated special shuls that are in Bavel. So therefore, if we're saying that what? That in Bavel there's special, again, we're saying that wherever the Jewish people are, the Shekhinah is with them. Where does the Shekhinah rest? In all the Bate Knesiyos and Bate Midrashis, in the Migdash Ma'at. But since the Gemara says that what? That there is a special Gilui Shekhinah in one of these two shuls. So if they are greater in Gilui Shekhinah, they're also greater in Migdash. Because remember, the Shekhinah dwells in a Beis HaMikdash. So the more Shekhinah, the greater the sanctuary. Meduber oides Gilui Shekhinah ba'oifen nali yoser megilui Shekhinah shebeshar Bate Knesiyos and Bate Midrashis. We're talking about a greater Gilui Shekhinah. Whenever you go into a shul, there's Shekhinah there, and you can sense the Eibishter a little bit. But there are certain places where the Shekhinah is there in a more powerful way. Makom shenikar shehu shayirisham. You can recognize and sense that the Shekhinah dwells. This B'Yisayim is that. Even more than that. Sheyesh noy makom miyuchad echad yachad miyuchad. There's one singular place, shehu tmuras hamigdash b'Yerushalayim, which is in exchange of the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. HaMakoim asher yivchar Hashem, the place that the Eibishter has chosen. Shaboy ikar ashros v'gilui Shekhinah, which is the main place of the dwelling of the Shekhinah. Shalachein, therefore, loy tema hacha v'hacha. Abaye says you can't say in two places. Because when the Beis HaMikdash was standing, you couldn't have two Batei Mikdash. There's one Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. Makoim asher yivchar Hashem. So therefore, when the Shekhinah goes into Galus, there's also one main place for Gilui Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is only in one place. And this thing is emphasized in the name of the place. What's that shul called? Shaf v'Yosef. And we said before in the name of the Aruch, what does it mean, Shaf v'Yosef? Shapirish, the Shaf v'Yosef, who, and the Rebbe is quoting now from the Aruch, Shenasa Migdash v'yashav sham. The Beis HaMikdash itself traveled, and it went there. Hainu, shegilui hashchina shahaya b'mikdash b'Yerushalayim. The gilui shchina that was in the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, v'loy b'makam achar, and not in another place. Nasa, it traveled, v'yashav, and it settled, b'makim yuchid b'Bavel, in a particular place in Bavel, tumuras HaMikdash b'Yerushalayim, in the place of the Beis HaMikdash that's in Yerushalayim. Lochein, therefore, just like where the Shechina dwelled, the Rebbe says in Ara 22, we're going to Ara 22, just like where the Shechina dwells, and the Shechina is the one that communicates Torah, so that's the place where the Sanhedrin have the special koyach to paskin halacha better than anywhere else. It's not like the smartest people came to the Beis HaMikdash. You see, in order to paskin halacha, you need godly Wi-Fi. And godly Wi-Fi is in the Beis HaMikdash. So therefore, of course they took the smartest and the greatest tzaddikim and they sent them there. But dafka there, if these same tzaddikim are somewhere else, they don't have that same ability, because they have to be where the Shechina is. But now, if the Shechina leaves Yerushalayim and goes somewhere else, that place becomes the main place of Torah revelation. Makim kavua shememeno yotzes hayra la'anshei ha'ir, to the people of the city. Al derech ubedugmas lishkas hagazes, which is similar to lishkas hagazes. Shebebavel HaMikdash, that's in the Beis HaMikdash. Or the Eidam ban mocham esoif perei dal diksubis. Where do you see taka connection? Now, if we say that the shul of Shaf Yosef or the shul of Hutzal, these were the main shuls where teachings went out, because if that was the main place where the Shechina is. So he says a taka he brings from the Ramban. Ikke Torah miyamei Golus ben Harda, Sham. The main Torah and the day of Golus is in Harda. Sham shegolus Yechanya v'acharish v'hamasker. Because Yechanya and Charish v'hamasker went there in exile. They built over there that shul. And over there is where the main Torah goes out for the Jewish people. Move on from this, we can also understand, we go on to the next page 199. So we can understand also to the small Beis HaMikdash that it says later in the sugya. Now we say, what's the main Mikdash Ma'at? Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel. Shenoisav al klolos inyan, the Mikdash Ma'at. In addition to the general idea of Mikdash Ma'at, Shebachol bata Knesiyas bata Midrasha Shebebavel, that is in all the shuls in Bavel. Yeshnoi ha-Mikdash Ma'at ha'ikri, there is a main Mikdash Ma'at, Tumuras ha-Mikdash ha-Gadol Shebirushalayim, that is in the place of the great Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, which is what? Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, Shenosa Mikdash v'Yashav Sham. The Beis HaMikdash travels to the Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel. And that Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, in the days of Rav, was Rav's Beis HaKnesses. Because he was the teacher, he was the Nasi Hadoyer, he was the teacher of the generation. And as we're going to see, how that translates later. I'm going to stop over here, even though I was planning to learn Sif Gimel as well, but I'm going to stop over here. So I want to tell you just a little bit of what the Rebbe says in a moment. In the next piece, he's going to be Megal. And he's going to say that all these Batei Knesiyos that are now, and including Beis Rabbeinu Shebebavel, which all of them are the seat for the Shechina, and they're all considered small Batei Mikdash. And they also have one central location, which is like greater than all of them. Right? It's greater than all of them. So they're not only special during the time of Golus, but they're also special when Mashiach comes. Why? Because all the Batei Knesiyos get uprooted and will go to Eretz Yisrael. And as the Rebbe is going to explain, in the Gemara it says that all shuls will go to Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe brings from a Marsha, which brings from the Medrash, that they don't only go to Eretz Yisrael, but they actually become attached to the Beis HaMikdash. Once we're going to establish that all yeshivas and all shuls and all of them become attached to the Beis HaMikdash, since we say that there is one shul that's the main shul of where the Shechina lives, where the Shechina dwells, which is the main Mikdash, so the Rebbe says its attachment to the Beis HaMikdash is on a much higher, greater level. It's primary to the attachment of all the other shuls to the Beis HaMikdash. And from there, the Rebbe is going to continue building this idea further and further. B'ezras Hashem, we're going to continue next week, Wednesday. sei gesund, we should be zoich already. The fullest galus of Mashiach Tzidkenu, may it be now.